Hello! Tonight is feeding night. We take all of our snakes out and put them in feeding boxes, which I know is rather controversial. But tonight we're going to show you that there's no regurge, there's no problem with any of them feeding. We even have a couple snakes that are in blue and past blue and about to shed, and I'm willing to bet they're going to eat. So follow along for fun. We're going to do this as quick as we can.
Okay. We also have our animals on frozen thawed from a local rodent breeder.
Crazy Beautiful Exotics.
Crazy Beautiful Exotics. He does an excellent job. He meets up with us locally. Really healthy looking mice. Everybody always comes in clean. The white mice are white. There's never bite marks. They never have fleas. So we always like to look at the health of the animals that we are feeding. Real quick, we're going to pull everybody out. Like Charlie said, we have a few of them that are currently in blue. This right here is our little girl, Bendy. She can be a little spicy, and she does enjoy nibbling on Charlie occasionally.
Yes, she's decided I'm very tasty.
Right here, we have Ramen Noodle, who can be a little huffy and a little puffy. Your smaller animals tend to be a little bit moodier and broodier. Hey, Bubba. Oh, that's a big boy. Oh, it's so big. There you go, big boy.
He's still hissing?
Yep.
Oh, bless his heart.
That's going to be about the most stressed you see any of these animals getting. The moments they go in the box, they know what their next job is.
Hi, sweetheart. This is Morticia. She is our adult female hypo het leopard, possible het Andery type 1, and possible cal albino. She is a very big girl, and she is very sweet, and she is not wanting to come off her sticks. Come on. Would you? Oh my goodness! Now I got to rebuild your cage. Thank you.
Hey, big boy. Hello. Oh, look at there, Dad. We get to help our boy Bowtie finish his shed.
And there we go.
Look at that beautifulness. That is a solid whole shed.
Good job, bud.
Oh, good job, buddy. Oh, big pretty boy.
We'll save that to feed the isopods. Okay, who's next? Let's do Soba. Now, we don't know the full genetics on Soba. She was a rescue found by my daytime job, which is do nuisance wildlife. She was crawling around an apartment complex, but we do know she is a hypo cal, so she's a sun glow. We think she might have jungle, but we're not sure. And of course, as that's the state, we have no idea what her other genetics are, but she is very beautiful. Adult female, and this year she will be being bred with Bowtie.
We then have our original female, who was given to us by a facility called Alligator Alley down here. They were having issues with her. She was pretty much a brand new fresh hatchling, and she wouldn't eat. So they said if we could get her to eat, we could keep her. Well, that was about 4 years ago. Dad, if you'll get the back end. I'm going to say we haven't had any issues with eating. She's a big, sweet girl.
And she is about to shed.
And she is
She's
also
out of blue now,
yeah.
but she's about to shed. But yeah, she's Nicaraguan. As far as we know, no other genetics, just a straight Nicaraguan. But she is a very sweet girl and my favorite.
Who else are we still missing, Dad?
We need Udon.
And for those of us who are vertically challenged with these lovely 6 foot. Hi, girlfriend. Hey, boob snoots. You're looking very boopy this evening.
Oh.
How are we doing, sweetness? And here's our last beautiful girl. Is this our last beautiful girl?
That's your last girl.
That's my last girl. Okay. This is Udon. Udon is our triple het threat. She is het leopard, het blood, and het cal albino. And she is gorgeous. And a hypo. She's got a little bit of everything. We absolutely love this arrow at the back of her neck. Lovely lady. Lovely, lovely lady.
And this is our last male. This is Gomez. Gomez is going to be the male we breed with Morticia, obviously. He is also het, and he's also hypo, I'm sorry, and he is het leopard and also possible het anery type 1 and possible het cal albino. We won't know if any of those prove out until we breed them. All right, that's everybody. Want to get the rats?
Yeah.
Let go, buddy. As you can see, none of them are stressed. None of them are freaking out. Everybody's fine. Everybody knows the drill. And as you can see, these guys here, they're all waiting on food. They know what is coming.
All right, guys. This is our feeder bin. This is how I like to thaw them out. As you can see, all these rats look like they're in really good condition. I like to put a little rag in there just to dab them off so they don't drip on my floor. Charlie prefers these giant hemostats.
Because I like to feed the big snakes.
Because he likes to feed the big snakes.
Now, see if Lilith will eat. Like I said, she is like 2 days away from shedding. And
there we go.
There we go.
Who do we have in here?
Bow tie.
Bow tie. Bow tie gets
Small.
There we go. That's a medium, isn't it?
Yeah, that's medium. That's a small.
There we go. There you go, buddy Ray.
This is Soba.
There we go. That's
Now,
a boy.
Soba's a little fun. Being that she's cal albino, she is a little hard of sight, and she's a little special.
Most albinos, whether it be reptilian or mammal, the vast majority of them have issues with sight in general. So you always have to be careful with her. She has accidentally bitten before striking at the food and just missing. She's also gotten wound up in blankets and pillows, just striking randomly and not being able to hit
There
it.
you go, Morticia. That's our dog happily playing with his new squeaky toy in the background, sorry.
A lot of times if you're having difficulty with smaller babies, like maybe they'll strike at the food item, but they won't keep it in their mouth. They spit it out and then zoom off. A lot of times if you just continue to pull on it for a minute or two, like Charlie's doing right here, that will get them engaged enough to stay latched onto it and to go ahead and start the eating process. A lot of times the issue that you see is a lot of breeders will start them off on live prey because it's a little bit easier to get a feeding response out of a new baby that way. But most people want to keep them on frozen thawed. The reason being is these animals are humanely euthanized. The other plus to it is that through the freezing process, you kill any internal parasites, any mites they may have. And then on top of that, the rodent can't bite your animal. So
and it's cheaper and it's easier to store the animals. You can buy in bulk when you feed frozen. Frozen has so many advantages over live. I don't honestly understand why you feed live. We love our snakes. They're all gorgeous. I don't want them getting bitten. I have seen snakes killed by rats. Rats can get lucky and bite right behind the head and sever the spine, which is lethal.
And not to mention, any injury can also open them up to infection, which could also cause either very expensive vet bills or it could lead to death if the infection's bad enough. It could cause loss of vision if they get nailed in an eye.
Now, I will say the one thing with the clear totes is you need to cover them up.
Yep.
They do definitely get distracted by people walking by and will sometimes release the rats. I will admit that is one of the problems with feeding, unless you buy all dark totes, which we did not because we're dumb. A little lower. But that's all it takes.
During this time, we like to run through. We pick around in their environments. We check on all their plants. We'll take all the water bowls out, throw them in our large sink with a little bit of bleach just so we can sterilize the bowls. This is
also when I get to find the poop, because I don't know how many of y'all watching have boas, but boas like to play this game where they poop in the most obscure and just inconvenient places, and you have to hunt for the poop. It's a good time, really.
One of the positives that we do see from it is our smaller boas. You see how they can get a little ampy when you go in their cage. Ramen got a little huffy when I went to pull him out. It really does stress him out when we start digging around, looking for poop, changing his water bowl, things along those lines. This way he can eat in peace. We have never had a regurgitation out of any of these animals. We have never had a refused feed out of any of our animals. They've all done exceptionally well. But yet again, this in the reptile community tends to be a really big area of division, and you get a lot of people that'll fuss and fight you over this. But that's how we do it in our house.
And I've been doing it this way since I was 15 years old, and I'm 37. So 22 years of feeding animals in separate bins from their cages. I know it's old school. I know a lot of people disagree with it. Honestly, too, we have a small enough collection. We have 8 boas. It's not that big a deal. I understand if you have 50, 60, 300, it's not really feasible. I understand that. But in our case, we're keeping everybody in these large naturalistic enclosures. We don't keep any of our animals in bins. So for us to pull them out, feed them, and like I said, and for me personally, you know, this isn't our full-time job. So I have a real job that I do 5 days a week that takes the majority of my time. And on the weekends when I have time to really break down all these enclosures. So during the week, I wash water bowls as needed. I refill water bowls as needed. We both do that. And then on the weekends is when I have time. If I see poop during the week, I get it out. But like I said, they like to play hide the poop. So I'm willing to bet you once the camera turns off and I start digging through all these enclosures, I'll find some poop. They like to hide them behind plants, behind sticks. And that's also the downside of naturalistic enclosures. Ours are naturalistic for the boas. Boas smash plants. It's hard to plant them, but you know, we keep them in pots. We cycle them out as needed. But anyway, there's still lots of clutter in our boa enclosures, and they definitely like to play hide the poop. So, but anyway, this is our process. It works for us. We're not saying it's the only way to do it. We're not saying it's the best way to do it. We're just saying this is how we do it. It works for us. We had 0 problems. We've only had Gomez and Morticia since December.
Yeah.
And for the first 30 days, of course, they were in quarantine, but they were perfectly healthy. The breeder we got them from in New York was amazing. And then once I got them out, they immediately started being fed in the boxes. And so in February, it's now only April, they have had 0 issues. No stress, no regurgitation. And like I said, you know, it's what your snakes are used to. It's how you handle them. You snatch them out of their enclosures and fling them around and do all this crap. They know what's up. They know it's feeding day. And so we have no issues with it whatsoever.
We also got Bowtie as a sub-adult. He had 0 issues transferring over to the bin feeding technique as well. The animals that we've had from babies, that's how we always started them off too. But anyway, in conclusion, that's our little tutorial on bin feeding and how we run through feed night. All of our animals currently are getting fed twice a week.
No.
Or I'm sorry, are getting fed
week.
twice a month, every other week. Up until about a year old or so.
We do once a week
before a year old. At about a year, that's whenever we move up the food size, and then we also put them at about every 2 weeks. You never want to overfeed your reptiles. The problem is that they end up with fatty liver disease. It puts a lot of stress on the circulatory system. You can end up with a lot of issues that will end up drastically shortening the life of your reptile.
Boas specifically don't process fat well. So and rodents are high in fat. I'm looking into trying to breed quail to try to switch our boas over to quail because quail are a higher protein, lower fat diet. But it's expensive, and it's something else I've got to build, and it's something else I've got to maintain.
And something else we have to feed.
Yeah, so we're looking into it. But in the meantime, we'll be using the rats from Crazy Beautiful Exotics. Again, I can't recommend them enough. They're on Facebook. If you're in the southeast, you know, Alabama, Mississippi area, they're wonderful. We've had 0 issues. That, like Kayla was saying earlier, the rats are perfect. They're healthy. They're well muscled. And our snakes have been thriving on them for the better part of a year now.
Yep. All right, guys.
All right,
have a good night.
Bye-bye.